Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all those who are with us in the room, and good afternoon to our online participant. It is a delight to introduce you today. Our PhD graduate, Moldir Ablayeva, who will be talking to you today about the role of teacher appraisal in professional learning. And Moldir has traveled all the way from Taraz with her little baby to make it. So we are very thankful, Moldir, for your presence. Over to you, Moldir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Professor Noreen and everyone for having me here today at NUGC and CARCEIT seminar. So I'll be talking about teacher appraisal, its influences on professional learning, teachers' professional learning. This is my PhD research, which I defended 2 years ago, but it is still relevant, and the topic is being circulated in academic discourse because it is very high stakes policy among school educators. Since it is the PhD research, so I think I will be mostly talking about the findings rather than methodology or literature, but nevertheless, I will talk. Hello, Professor Miroslav. Hello. Thank you. Yeah. So teacher appraisal for professional learning. So this is perspectives from one secondary school in Kazakhstan. So here is okay. So what is teacher appraisal, or in Kazakhstan, we call it teacher attestation. In our international literature, often you can see the definitions for teacher evaluation or teacher appraisal, but teacher appraisal is a common concept, and in Kazakhstan, it is teacher attestation, which is defined as an ongoing process used for identifying, measuring, and developing an individual's performance in accordance with an organization's strategic goals, which is very relevant to the Kazakhstani context. And the second is an established career structure for teachers associated with a teacher certification process. I think many of you have relatives, mothers, sisters who work at school and have a lot of discourse about teacher attestation in their teaching lives, because every year teacher attestation has a lot of amendments. This policy has a lot of amendments, and if we look back at 2018, when this revised teacher appraisal was presented, till today we had, I don't know, more than 10 or 15 amendments to that main policy, because this policy is often being criticized, especially by the main stakeholders, by teachers. Why it is very important also to study, it was important for me to study, because teacher quality and their work define educational quality and students' learning outcomes at schools. And this very policy and appraisal processes often fail to help teachers to improve their practices, to be involved in professional development. And as you know, there are two purposes of teacher appraisal: accountability purpose and professional learning purpose. And the first purpose, accountability purpose, often prevails. That is why many teachers do not see teacher appraisal as a real instrument to develop professionally, but something to be accountable for and something just to tick the box. Talking about background, so there are state programs for education and science development. You heard about them, which indicate the necessity to improve teacher quality in Kazakhstan. And later in 2019, we had this law on teacher status. And in 2018, like almost the same time, this revised teacher appraisal was launched. And these are the dynamics of amendments made to the regulations since their approval. Yeah, starting from 2016, 2022, and even now, I guess in April, we had another amendment which says about them about their I guess their digitalization of the process of teacher appraisal. As I said before, this is a high-stakes teacher certification process. Most teachers criticize because it is there are many inappropriate ratings. Post-appraisal meaningful feedback is very low, and teachers' needs are not met as a part of teacher appraisal. And the OECD reports repeatedly indicated the need to link teacher appraisal practices to teachers' professional needs. And the purpose of this study was to explore teachers and school leaders' perceptions and perspectives about teacher appraisal and its influences on teachers' professional learning. And so here are the research questions that I looked at, the main research question and 4 research sub-questions which guided this study. Talking about the literature, so many researchers agree that in many schooling systems in many countries, teacher appraisal, teacher evaluation processes have one-size-fits-all approach. Yeah, and also many schooling systems, many researchers argue that there should be different approaches to teacher appraisal, since teachers are adults and their needs and their interests also vary. And there are many factors affecting teachers' development, like workplace, context-bound factors, and also researchers agree on the argument that teachers are adults and they are self-directed learners. This way, looking at literature, I came to the decision that I would look at this research problems through the lens of adult learning principles of Malcolm Knowles, where it is said that adults learn when they understand why they should learn. Teachers as adults should know and be aware of their readiness to learn and orientation to learning and motivation to learn. So these are 6 principles which helped me to look at these 2 purposes of teacher appraisal, which I talked about in the beginning of my presentation: accountability purpose of the teacher appraisal and professional learning. So this way, I'm not neglecting the accountability purpose of teacher appraisal, because the aspects of appraisal in Kazakhstan, such as national qualification testing and portfolio, teacher portfolio assessment, this accountability neoliberal view, as I've indicated in this slide, help to unpack other aspects of appraisal, such as testing, what else there are, student outcomes. Yeah, probably you heard about so many Olympiads, yeah, state level, regional level, city level Olympiads that are very important for teachers to include in their portfolio in order to show their work, in order to be eligible for teacher attestation in Kazakhstan. So with the help of these adult learning principles and also with these 2 views on teacher appraisal, constructivist and accountability, I looked at such aspects of appraisal as formative lesson observations, feedback, and student learning outcomes such as Olympiads and other competitions, teacher portfolio, and self-evaluation. And through the accountability or neoliberal view, which I also discussed in my thesis, I looked at teacher testing. So this testing aspect also changed many times. So if in 2018 teachers had to answer like 70 questions or 50 questions on their subject matter, now they have only 30 questions on their subject matter and 20 questions for methodology part, which is also a big difference. And as a result, if the teachers are lucky in their appraisal, in the attestation, their salary is increased. So that's why this is very high stake, because teacher attestation, their salary levels depends on the outcomes of teacher attestation. So I did qualitative research. It was a qualitative embedded single case study design with multiple units of analysis, where I interviewed both teachers and school administration, and particularly school vice principal, who was responsible for teacher attestation and who supported and helped teachers in their process of attestation. So shortly about this site, it was one school in Astana city. Why? Because it was very convenient, and it was very important to look at the real life situations of teachers. How they start preparing for the attestation, how they gather their portfolio, and how they prepare for this national qualification testing, and at the end, how they result. Yeah. So it was 15 research participants, all in all 23 interviews, because with some of the teachers I did follow up, and 16 appraisal documents were analyzed, and non-participant observations. So this is how I linked their adult learning principles with the account with data analysis and these two views, constructivist and neoliberal views of teacher appraisal. So talking about the findings, general perceptions about teacher appraisal. So in general, all teachers that I interviewed agreed that this is top-down education policy, and if they had a chance to choose, they would never participate in teacher attestation. It is a top-down education policy. And one participant said, vice principal, that City Education Department, its methodologists, and Astana City Education Modernization Center, their representatives control the work of schools and come to observe teachers. So this is not something that schools decide, but the authorities and the City Education Department. And another perception was that it is highly accountability-driven perspective. Yeah, as Fariza said, the purpose of the current appraisal is, to be honest, very unclear to them and motivates a teacher from a financial perspectives only. But for others, it was also the process of self-evaluation, kind of given a self-report to themselves, like what I've done, like during these 5 years of appraisal, and where I'm going to move, what will be the roadmap or direction further. So these kind of perceptions appeared. And later, when I further interviewed teachers, the advantages and disadvantages of appraisal were emerged as a findings, the value of beyond classroom activities in teacher appraisal. So as I've said, for many teachers, it was a motivation not just teach the ordinary classroom, everyday classroom, but also to be involved in out of school activities, be proactive, search for some activities, learning about opportunities, participation in different events, educational events. And also, since teachers knew their every stage and what they're required to do for attestation, they said that it is clear articulated, like the stages are very clear. That's why I named it as a policy, as a clear articulated policy and comprehensiveness. Why comprehensiveness? Because it included both the work of teacher as a professional development, like for example, they go for different professional development courses. They not only to develop themselves as teachers, but also to involve students in different events. And also it included both the subject testing and also essay writing as a reflection of their practices. But also there were many disadvantages, as teachers stated, gaps between policy aspirations and enactment. Like in the policy documents, it is said that the teacher attestation is one way to improve teacher quality in the country. But in fact, as my participants shared, they worked it was very difficult to look at a teacher attestation as something as a professional development opportunity, but something just tick the box and have my salary increased and etc. And it is also mandated. The fact that it was mandated, the teacher testing process is mandated, it also raises teacher anxiety. And also another disadvantage is there is a loose link between the appraisal and the teacher professional development. So further, the perception, one of the most important questions of this research was to identify the influences. Oh, this is next. So perceptions about the model, process, and practices of the appraisal. Since it is mandated, it is largely administrative purpose of largely administrative process. And for example, lesson observations. One participant here, Aya, you can read. She said 3 people wrote feedback for my lessons, and 2 of them did not attend my lessons actually. So this was kind of a nonsense for them, for teachers, like how this observer is going to assess my success or growth, not even attending my lesson. So such cases were several during the interviews, and I here showing the one of them. And another participant also shared that the importance of the test, the national qualification testing, is higher than the lesson quality within this teacher appraisal process. So, and Qanat also shared that there are many teachers, dedicated professionals of pre-retirement age who failed the test. But if you observed like 2 years ago, this policy addressed, the teacher appraisal policy addressed this issue, allowing pre-retirement age teachers not to participate in testing, but like just share their portfolios. Also, one teacher said, if I fail the test, I will feel myself like an unknowledgeable or unqualified teacher. This is this quote emerged from the finding teacher anxiety related to national qualification testing. And in Kazakhstan, there were many cases where teachers felt themselves very bad during the testing, that they called the emergency because they're sharing that in the room they're taking the test, the atmosphere is very tense, the invigilators are very rude, that the law on teacher status doesn't work, they said, because we are not treated like professionals here. We're treated like I don't know who. These were the insights from the teachers that teacher status that should care about teachers. The law should care about teachers, should protect teachers from such things. Actually, this process of testing causing a lot of stress and anxiety to teachers. There were also positive moments from some teachers saying that teacher appraisal helps to grow professionally. Yeah, they can enhance their qualification, their knowledge, professional knowledge, because every time they prepare for the national qualification testing, they recall their theoretical knowledge, look for some literature, share. They have the WhatsApp groups to talk about their testing questions. This is also, to some extent, professional development for them, because they say that they learn from each other better than from the sheets of the professional teacher attestation requirements. Yeah, and also they shared that through these little units, as they call in the school, like math teachers work together and the English teachers work together. They improve their subject matter, subject knowledge. And there is also one thing that, for example, one teacher works with 5 graders for, I don't know, 5 years, yeah, every year. But when it comes to the teacher attestation, they had to cover all the grades. So that's why they take it very like this is high stake, because they cannot just fail, because this is high stake. It depends, the result depend, it will influence on their salary and reputation in school, and they rehearse, they recall, they prepare for the testing, and this way they say that they increase their knowledge of subject matter. Also, there is also the curriculum, I call it curriculum enrichment, but the project thing. Teachers do research in order to apply for higher level of teacher attestation categories. For example, there are categories called teacher researcher and teacher master, where teachers should show, apart from their teaching, should show their research skills. And this is also another another opportunity for them to grow, to search, and to work more. Here, one teacher shared his insights. Ultimately, teacher appraisal improves teacher qualification, teacher knowledge, helps to work beyond the set standards, because we need to work with students and motivate them. And vice principal also shared, after teachers become teacher researchers and teacher masters, they should not be limited to class teaching only. These teachers should be able to conduct research with students. And also vice principal shared that teacher appraisal, a salary allowance, motivates teachers to work better. Teachers looked at this at the salary increase from 2 perspectives, like I do it only for the salary increase, and others see it. This is very good that I can increase my salary, like working more, showing more like initiatives, being proactive. So here I thought that also it depends on teachers themselves. Another finding was with the help of all these teacher appraisal practices and preparations, teachers can be recognized. Yeah, they receive awards, their salaries are increased, and also there is a teacher rating according to the amount of work they do. The negative impact of teacher appraisal is unhealthy competition. In order to participate in different very important competitions at city level or state, country level, teachers usually seek for the brightest students in their classroom, and this creates this unhealthy competition among teachers. They wanted to grab the best a student in the classroom and work with them, and even fight for to grab the students to their company. So also appraisal-oriented collection of evidence. There is a joke among teachers saying that like when the vice principal is approaching and asking teachers, like, there is an opportunity, or like there is a conference is going to be held here and there, and teacher asks, so can I show it in my teacher attestation, or is it relevant? Will it be relevant in my teacher attestation? If not, I'm not going to participate. So these kind of replies also, I made such kind of replies from teachers. Also, one of my research questions looked at research participants' suggestions for improving teacher appraisal processes in Kazakhstan. So teachers wanted the national qualification testing be relevant to their everyday teaching practices. For example, they're saying that some of the questions in national qualification testing are not like up to date, or are not relevant to their subject teaching, and it's very difficult to prepare for the things that they are not practicing actually in their everyday school practices. And they wanted professional development. The teacher appraisal identified their needs for further development. As one of the research participants, Halip, shared, there should be emphasis on lesson observations and feedback more than the testing. Because testing, they do it and they forget it, but the lesson of the real life, the real growth can be seen, and the growth can happen when our classes are observed and they receive constructive feedback. Also, they wanted informal school-based teacher appraisal. Why? Because they said that every 5 years they undergo teacher attestation, and every time they do it as a first time, they are stressed, they are anxious. But if they have some informal appraisal within the school, which does not influence to their salary, to anything on their work, it should be very good, so that teachers get acquainted, so that they have this habit, like to be very good every time, not just once in 5 years. Also teachers wanted that teachers' moral values be as a part of appraisal, because the issues of students' well-being are very hot topic in schools, and moral values, something related to values should be also included in the appraisal requirements, they said. And the creation of a special website where teachers can find answers to any questions they're interested, because sometimes they have very unique questions, very unique situations, which they don't know whom to address. So now looking, like stepping back from my research, PhD research, and the findings and very deep discussion, I just looked at the findings and tried to conclude. So what are the pluses and minuses, advantages and disadvantages, or what are the new knowledge that we had from this research, which is, I think, should have more sample size, but nevertheless, within this school, with these 15 research participants, what I gained. So that teacher appraisal in Kazakhstan has 3 purposes: professional learning, accountability, and career growth. Yeah, it also helps to promote teacher self-directed learning. And also it can encourage teacher leadership, because very proactive. There are many the proactive teachers who want to participate, who want to work beyond the set standards, and they are true teacher leaders. And this teacher appraisal could be one way of promoting it. And teacher appraisal also motivates teachers both externally and internally. Appraisal is also in Kazakhstan, in the context of Kazakhstan, is a bureaucratic mechanism for ensuring accountability still, and is a top-down, centralized, high-stake and one-size-fits-all approach to mainly ensure the accountability of teachers in schools. And it has more breadth than depth in the activities and tasks executed by the teachers. Concluding this, I set some policy recommendations that there should be differentiated teacher appraisal in Kazakhstan, and that because teachers are different, regions are different, schools are different, and teachers' real life situations are also different. There are many types of schools in Kazakhstan, and there are different economic backgrounds of families, of the regions. The indicators are very different. That's why the teacher appraisal also should be differentiated. The increasing level of autonomy for school principals, so that schools can decide how, when, and what kind of appraisal they can conduct in order to help their teachers. And the conceptualization of teacher appraisal as a learning and professional development tool, but not just as a tick the box thing, or not just centralized high-stake accountability thing. So, and saying this, I see the appraisal as that this binary and this constructivist view and neoliberal view, or in other words, the accountability purpose and the professional learning purpose of appraisal should be equalized. Yeah, and and also in the center there should be always a teacher whose principles are still, like as indicated here, that they are adults, they know better what they need to know, they know their self-concept, they can assess, evaluate their prior experience themselves. They also need to know their readiness and orientation to learning, and also they should have their motivation to learn. So these two binary and equal purposes of appraisal should help teachers to grow further. And I think that this PhD study helped me to contribute to theory, policy, and practice. Theoretically, that teacher learning is in a centralized, to understand that teacher learning in a centralized context, that still appraisal being professional development instrument is still having this very high stake agenda, and that this work is one of the first inquiries in the context of Kazakhstan, utilizing adult learning principles. These study findings also can help policymakers to look at the empirical evidence, yeah, and to see the strengths and gaps of the appraisal policy in consideration of teachers' different needs. For school leaders and for practitioners, for school leaders and for teachers, teacher appraisal, the findings of this research can be seen can help to see teacher appraisal as an effective instrument for improving teacher practice, collaborative and supportive school culture, and for teachers, the findings should help to understand and to conceptualize, yeah, their professional development, and also be accountable for their own learning. This study had also limitations, that these findings emerged from only one school with unique characteristics and setting, because there are many types, different types of schools in Kazakhstan. Also, these limitations helped me to identify some further research ideas with a focus on teacher lesson delivery, self-evaluation, and reflection, as well as role of the feedback. For example, you know that the lesson study and action research methods are very popular now in Kazakhstani schools. Also, teachers can use these research methods to as an instrument to improve their everyday practices, to improve their research skills, and this could be one way of looking at the teacher appraisal further. Yeah, how they are managing this. And also mixed method research of the mixed method research can be done, should be done, I think, on a state level with more larger sample size to look at this teacher appraisal policy. To assess the long-term effects of assigned teacher qualification categories, if teacher assigned to a teacher researcher qualification category. So what this teacher can share, like after 5 years, what happened to that teacher, what are the long-term effects, what kind of growth he or she can show. And also a comparative study on different types of schools and on different, in Kazakhstan now there are two types of, different models of teacher appraisal. For secondary schools, there is one appraisal model, which I investigated. And for NIS schools, they have their different models. So kind of comparative study can be done to look at the comprehensiveness of these two models. And leaders' perceptions are also important to research, especially the school leaders and education department representatives. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Moldir. I'll give you a couple of minutes, yeah? Just talk to the person sitting next to you about, how this talk has impacted on you. What questions you might want to ask the presenter, or some observations you would like to share.
Yes,
And in the meantime, I also encourage our online participants to note down their questions and observations as well. And you can write those in the chat box, and also if you want to verbalize your comments yourself.
Sorry, may I? I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Jadra, we are discussing something in the room, yeah? So give us a couple of minutes and you will be the first one to ask questions.
Okay, no problem, thank you.
Generate questions. No, they are PhD students, some are researchers here at CARCEIT, and with her it's about precisely study. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this discussion has stimulated your thinking, and there will be questions emerging. But in the meantime, our online presenter, Jadra, would like to ask Moldir a question. Jadra, it's your
Yes,
turn.
yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, Professor Nirani. I cannot see you, but I still can recognize your voice. I think yes. Hello. Yes, I am master's student at your university. It's so nice seeing you all there. Thank you very much, Dr. Ablayeva, for today's webinar. Yeah, no questions at all, but just my gratitude as I am actually in the process of doing a similar study, research work, but I'm going to look at both one selective and the one mainstream school. So I think today's webinar and these materials will help me guide how to write and how to organize the work that is upcoming for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jadra. I'm glad to know that it has been useful research.
So sort of it was special. Yeah, very close in terms of topics. So that is why a big thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Arijan, yeah, you have a question.
Thank you so much for your informative presentation. I just could resonate with the fact that you have shared that because of the attestation part, teachers kind of fighting for the brilliant student in the classroom. Unfortunately, yeah, it's very pity that I have graduated in 2017 and this situation is still emerging there, yes. And I have a question, just interesting in your personal opinion. How could you meet the demands of this neoliberal discourse? I mean, yes, we need the numbers, so on and so far, yes, attestation, and at the same time meet the needs of the teachers. And what should be changed, in my opinion, in policy? And shouldn't be mandatory, maybe? Should it be optional, or what could you suggest?
Is it possible? Yeah, is it possible to find a middle point? Yeah, between these two competing demands.
Yeah. So as I've said, there were many amendments to the policy in an attempt to improve and to address the critiques and complaints of teachers, but still I hear responses from actual teachers now that nothing has changed. That they still look at the appraisal as something mandatory and something very difficult to overcome, and kind of they are stressed out because they have, apart from the appraisal, they have a lot of things to do during the day, during the school year. But I think that we need time in order to have this conceptualization, to change that conceptualization of teacher appraisal as something we can learn, as something we can use as a roadmap. We need time and we need a lot of work as a country. I think it's very difficult now just to change and to look at appraisal. You can have it or you not have it, because we're talking about big budgets. We're talking about the big things, about international like policies also. This I think we need time and we need to try to conceptualize appraisal as something, as an instrument to learn, but not as a mandatory something thing. Yeah.
That would help, yeah? Okay.
I can say
Yeah.
what did not work in Georgia as example, because we had the same thing. The salary was dependent on how many things Georgian teachers would put in their portfolios. So you use different term, but I think
Yeah.
it's a similar thing. You have to do extra lessons, you have to mentor somebody else and so on. So you advance stages and you get more salary. And a couple of months ago, the government did is that they
Abolished.
they trashed all of it and they gave the same salary to all the teachers, except for the very newcomers. So everybody has the same one, and it's caused a big disagreement. And now teachers are fighting who gets more time in school instead of focusing on other things. So that didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, these are complex issues, yeah? Just finding good balance is important, so that you can maximize the advantages, but minimize the disadvantages. Do we have another question or observation? Yes, please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Aksama. I'm a master's student here in UGC. My question is, I'm wondering whether your participants mentioned about creating unique program or authors program or something. It's called After
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's one of the challenging parts of
Yeah.
portfolio, of gathering a portfolio. You need to create your own program. And it's challenging because not a lot of teachers can make it. And therefore they seek help beyond the school, and they buy already pre-made programs and something like that. And it's not very fair. So
Yes.
I'm wondering if your participants.
Yes.
mentioned that.
They did mention several times actually. One experienced teacher, I remember her words, she said, that there should be people who do research. They it's my job is to teach. Why should I have this authors program while I'm an experienced teacher? My students are having very good results annually. Let researchers do research and teachers teach. Such kind of responses were also this thing about buying made works also. It's corruption, or how can we? It's not fair.
Ready-made works.
It's not fair for other teachers who do their own programs, and the neighbor teacher is just buying. Yeah, and it's not fair. And also, this is. It creates another problem, where are we going though? So what are we aiming for doing this? Yeah, so what will be the results if every teacher will buy such programs and show it like their own work?
I mean, although what you discussed was in the context of schools, and
Yes.
those who work in academia like myself, things are a bit different, but I could feel so much similarity of how your teachers felt and now how I feel in our own appraisal system, although our appraisal system is not as rigid as this one, but it has an impact on the way we interact with our peers, our relationship with our students, our approach towards teaching and research, and these issues are very, very important. Yes, Dushan and Anara. Okay, let's take two questions and you can, yes, Dushan?
I am Dushan, a faculty member here, and I am so pleased to see Moldir, your clothes. And you are the first cohort of MSc long time ago than you did PhD. I think it's excellent work you did.
Thank you.
Maybe I will ask you to look at it from the policy makers' point of view. It's a very excellent research from the academic point of view, scientific point of view. Imagine if you meet a minister, can you tell the minister about 2-3 things? And then I think I'm following up what Arjan also was asking. What would be some of the changes that are needed in the current system? And doable changes you would suggest based on your research? And one thing that national qualifications test seems to be really something that puts a lot of anxiety and stress. Have you seen the questions of it? Is it really bad, or what is it like? What kind of questions they ask? These are two related questions, please.
Yeah, definitely I would ask the minister definitely one thing about this testing, national qualification testing, that probably change and leave only for subject matter, but not for methodology part, which is very difficult because not all teachers can have opportunities to attend professional development courses where they can receive, they can grab the knowledge they can then show in this test. Because schools cannot cover all like 100% teachers to send to those courses in order to be able then to confidently say that the teachers can do the tests on methodology part. The methodology part should be, I think, assessed during the lesson observations. And this is a real situation where teachers' mastery, teachers' growth can be seen and evaluated. So, and there are many systems, there are many systems, I cannot name exactly, but where lesson observation is the main and the comprehensive part and aspect component of teacher appraisal rather than just testing.
Anara?
Actually, thank you. My question is answered.
Okay, so it was.
Thank you.
Yes, Kyra.
It's nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you to the CARCEIT for inviting me and having here with us. I'm thinking about this essays. Is essays still requirement at teachers' session?
It is a requirement, but it does not influence the overall outcome of appraisal.
So essay is kind of data, right? And that's a question for all of us as citizens and kind of policy researchers here. Education researchers here, what do we do with the data, right? They have so many essays coming. Is there like any questions like pinpoint, if I assign essays to my students expect to see some feedback from me?
Yeah.
So is there like feedback culture coming based on the essays or not?
Yeah, this is, I think, a very, very big question to policymakers, because when I started my PhD essay was not there yet. When I already collected data, the essay was added as a component, and I couldn't ask my participants. Yeah.
That's interesting. So they have this data, but they don't know what to do with this data.
It's just writing to the open. I don't know today. Yeah.
But did you publish?
Yes.
Address in the grammar in the village.
Yes.
Expression.
I have a small question, maybe some kind
This
of
is Asel
clarification
Sherimova,
also.
just to the online
My
participants.
question is about one of your findings. You mentioned about recognition, that the assessment teacher appraisal provide teacher recognition because they receive awards, salary increase, and there was a word rating. I wonder, have you mentioned about it, or how rating is work? What is it about?
Yeah. In that school where I did my research, they said that at the end of every academic year, they do teacher rating.
School principals.
Yes, and according to that rating, they give awards for teachers. And also the appraisal results are also included in that rating, and they give points to those achievements. And this is also, as they use that rating in the appraisal, or appraisal is included in that rating. It was not the scope of the study, but I heard many times from the teachers that teacher rating is a kind of also a high stake thing in their school.
It's just within the school, right? Because I
Yes.
was wondering who is within the region, someone is making ratings.
No, it was within the school. When I asked also teachers, they said that there are still ratings, because in some schools I've heard that there are no ratings. Yeah.
So we have a question over there from Nazim.
Yeah, that's also comments. How this data is used, and this year new rating came up. It's called target schools. Target schools, and one of the indicators of those let's say 1,000, I think, target schools, they actually receive special attention, special support from local department, and then go through another stage of testing of their test. It's often the form of the test, and also it adds another pressure for teachers. I just want to add that teacher appraisal become an important indicator target schools.
Thank you so much, Nazim, for sharing these new developments.
Nadia?
Mm.
Nadia.
Nadia.
Sorry, I will start with some personal reflection on your findings, then it will follow up with the question. So, findings, one of the advantages that your professor mentioned was that the policy was clearly articulated. But personally, maybe I went through like 2 rounds of this teacher project. Through my career, and I didn't find it good. I can't say that it's kind of clearly articulated. It was very hard to understand that. I didn't get it at all, actually. But now, but still, in your study, did your participants mention about the role of the facilitators that kind of explain this? And the question following would be that, do you think that because your research was done in one school, and because the vice principal who is also responsible for the
Support.
for the facilitation of this attestation was also included in the interview, do you think that this somehow biased the answers of your participants? So they stating that it's clearly articulated. Don't you think that is there a chance that it was kind of affected by the scale of the study, like having in one school?
First, the interviews were they were conducted individually, but still everyone knew why I'm there and who I'm going to interview, because it is just one school, one setting. It was impossible to be anonymous, but still the interviews were individual. So I don't think the answers were kind of influenced by the fact that they are there in the school and vice principal also there. But I can elaborate on that answer, saying that clearly articulated means they knew what to do, they do the stages, I do the testing, I should show should provide this certificate, and then write an essay, and I'm done. These stages were very clear to them, but within them also there were many questions, like lesson observation, the feedback, why, who is going to observe. So these other things also raise another questions. But in this term, they said that it was very clear to them what to do, stepwise.
Thank you so much, Moldir. I will just leave some suggestions for the future, because we are almost out of time. And I hope you already have looked at it, but I was just wondering, did you look at different patterns within the data? So not treating all teachers as a homogeneous group. And for example, there were some who were talking about, the positive impact on their learning and their professional development. Who were they in terms of their social identity markers? What were the contexts in which this happened? So for the future, to make, even if given this system, you cannot abolish this very problematic system, but how can it be improved so that certain conditions can spur the professional development? And I was also interested in the gender aspect of responding to financial incentives, because I see men and women would respond very differently to financial incentives as opposed intrinsic motivation to
Mhm.
improve
Yeah.
financially, professionally. So thank you so much, Moldir. We really appreciate the time you took, leaving your young baby over in the care of your husband. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot, and thank you, Nazim, for adding to our knowledge about these additional pressures on teachers. Now it's not only their own stakes, but the honor of the school is at stake. Because if they perform poorly, then the school become a target school. No?
Yes, target school is another project. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.